Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first installment of a little versus series that we are trying out here on the channel. This is just going to be a series where we take two popular and established decks and throw them against each other just to see what happens. Today, I'm joined by one of our moderators, Mr. Doot, and we are taking on the Boros Energy versus 5-color Humans matchup. Doot, would you like to talk about your deck a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm playing 5-color humans, a toolboxy birthing pod style mid-range deck. I'm using the list from the deck's like primary pilot Benvi. A variant of this list back in last September is what was the list that they used to win a 1K. I am just looking to deploy cheap, efficient, and value generating humans, and then either leverage them to attack you to death, or utilize them with the deck's core card Pyre of Heroes to birthing pod them into toolboxy answers to whatever you're doing, and then eventually just land a absolutely broken 4-drop and close the game in very short order.
Right on. And I am playing Boros Energy. This is a combination of the modern energy deck that's been plaguing the format for a while and the pauper Boros bully lists that use the bouncy creatures alongside cards like Experimental Synthesizer to create long game card advantage. So it's sort of a low to the ground aggressive mid-range deck versus a grindy aggro deck. So we're just going to see who comes out on top between those two. All right, starting off, I am on the play for this one. So for an opening hand in this deck, the perfect start is a Plains into Guide of Souls, as that is the most powerful card that I have access to, as it fuels everything else that the deck has going on. Something else to keep in mind when you are mulliganing is your mana. Specifically with the card Aether Hub, because that can only generate a colored mana one time, it's pretty common that that will either cause you a mulligan or cause you to stumble in the early turns by having to commit your resources to that. So just keep that in mind as you are mulliganing. This hand is great, so I will go ahead and keep it.
My hand's pretty bad. I got 4 lands, a pilgrim, and to these 2 specialists. These specialists don't do anything. My hand doesn't really progress my game state into anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this one back. Okay, this one is looking better. In the blind, I like this one a lot. I've got a turn 1 play into a turn 2 play into the Stalia's Lieutenant. I got some good card selection with this Charming Prince. The Stalia is going to make his life a little annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and bottom this Drina. But yeah, this hand's a keeper.
Awesome. It is important to note that going into these, and for every video in this series, we are acting as though we do not know what the opponent is playing and trying to make it as close to an authentic play experience as possible. So I will go ahead and start us off with the best start that the deck has to offer, Plains
No!
and the Souls.
That sucks. Yep. Okay.
Without early turn interaction, it is very difficult for any fair deck to fight through this.
Yeah. I think this is just going to be a race of a game.
That's very plausible.
Yeah. My hand right now is set up to go pretty fast and race.
So a turn 1 Fortified Beachhead usually is indicative of the 5-color Humans deck. There aren't very many decks in this format that play soldiers at all, let alone want this card, and the Humans deck is pretty dense with human soldiers specifically. So if it isn't the 5-color Humans deck, it is at least very likely a Humans deck that we are against. And the recruitment officer also speaks about the same to that notion. So right now, I am going to play this Quarry Mountain Monastery because I've played a Plains last turn. And I don't know if this is the best turn 2 play that the deck has to offer, but it's pretty good.
This is definitely the best curve you can have in the energy deck.
Yes. And I've already made a misplay because MTGO is difficult to use. You do want to resolve your Guide of Souls first, just to get the energy to pay into Amped Raptor. It doesn't super matter in the pre-boarded games because we are a Lurus deck and everything is under 3. But that is a thing to consider in later games. So we find a static prison for this recruitment officer, which is a great way to start building a snowball. This deck's main strategy is to just get a tiny incremental advantage over your opponent turn over turn and really snowball and build on that. So we'll just go ahead and attack with this Guide of Souls and pass turn.
Well, you're gonna have to pay your prison tax. I don't know if you actually want this recruitment officer to stay under there. Like, it's fine to keep it under there. I mean, I think my plan is still the same. I think I'm still just going to be deploying the Thalia. This card's, like, okay in this matchup. There's, like, a couple cards it's pretty good against. It's pretty good if he goes for, like, a Synthesizer play or any of the one-mana removal spells. It just makes the little incremental advantages harder to get because he's now taxed on more mana. Also means he can't swing freely into this guy with this Guide of Souls without committing a guide trigger onto it. Although I presume he's probably just going to do a guide trigger onto this Amped Raptor this turn. So this is definitely a situation where I am going to be the control. I think who's the control and who's the beatdown pivots pretty wildly in this matchup, depending on play draw, depending on hands. But right now, I am definitely not the beatdown.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I actually don't know if I want to keep the static prison around because, like you said, the 1 mana or the 1 energy is a big cost this early in the game, and I don't really care if you have a 2/1. So I think I'm just going to throw the static prison away.
Yeah, honestly, I think Static Prison is like a fine hit. It was like a totally fine hit for me. You could have hit some other creature or like a Brotherhood Scribe, and just made this game extremely fast. But just like letting you get in for 1 last turn, I think I'm totally fine with.
So with the context that this matchup is very who's the beatdown dependent, the way that this hand has shaped up so far, it's not aggressive at all. So I think I'm going to take this opportunity to pivot towards being the control role instead of trying to be super aggressive and using my Guide of Souls trigger to like attack in with a raptor that may or may not stick around. So I'm just going to go ahead and plot this Brimstone Roundup and settle in for the long game here. And then we have no attacks with the Raptor because the Thalia also has First Strike, and I don't think it's worthwhile for those two to trade.
I think I want to wait 1 more turn before deploying the Thalia's Lieutenant. I haven't drawn the greatest, but I think I just want to set up my top decks a little bit more before I start going in further with this card. So I think I just want to get some more information, see what we can do. Yeah, I just want some extra card selection. Well, glad we did this, because I don't want either of these cards. Ooh, these cards are
So what are we
bad.
looking for out of a Charming Prince Scry at this point in the game?
Just something, honestly, that helps me get, like, over your board some more. My hand is shaped up to where I need to be the beatdown, so I'm just looking for other ways to push damage or to interact, and a Giant Killer and a Meddling Mage are not what I want to see on top of my deck in this matchup. Giant Killer is absolutely one of the cards that I'm boarding out for game 2. It just doesn't really do anything. It's fine if you go for like a guided up raptor, but that's about it. Or just like a guided up creature in general. And then Meddling Mage is just a little bit too late and a little bit too clunky.
In that specific instance, Meddling Mage did have one very easy target. You can just hit my Brimstone Roundup.
Oh yeah, Brimstone Roundup is pretty good, I guess.
Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cast the Brimstone Roundup first. I'm learning that I do need to pay the Thalia tax on that, which is super unfortunate. But this is gonna supply a pretty steady stream of creatures.
Even if I kept the Meddling Mage on top, then it wouldn't have actually come down in time for it to matter for the roundup, so I felt like it was fun. Just throw it away.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, this amulet's pretty good.
You might think that the sequencing on this is a little weird because we don't get the extra damage off of Amulet, but that extra damage does turn into a mercenary token, which I'm going to value a little bit higher than a random damage, specifically because there's a Guide of Souls in play. So the reason that I played Amulet instead of this card is because this card offers me a second spell if I cast it next turn. Whereas the Amulet costs more mana because there's Thalia out, which means that I would need to pay significantly more mana to get 2 spells out of the Amulet if I had held it. And the way that the board is shaping up, I have 7 energy, so I could attack in with this Raptor now and get the Guide of Souls trigger on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that just to create a little bit of a clock, try and get this game over with. So we'll attack in for 4 flying.
Sure can't block.
And I think that's one of the big misses out of the humans deck is that they don't have a great time against flying creatures in general.
I flooded out pretty hard. I've drawn a lot of lands. It's alright, though. That's why we have the Horizon Canopy.
Yeah, you do have 2 of your best pieces of flood insurance in play right now with the fortified beachhead and the
Yeah,
Horizon Canopy.
for sure. I think I'm actually just gonna break this canopy. I don't need this card. Okay, well. Yeah, let's just get going here. Yeah, so this Thalia's Lieutenant is kind of what I was building towards for a bit. That's why I wanted to put the Charming Prince in before I played it. I just wanted some more bodies for it to pump. Just applying counter pressure is pretty good. I can't afford to block the Amped Raptor, so the next best course of action is just smash in and try to race.
Yeah, and I'm not in a position where I can afford to be throwing away creatures yet, because I still need to use them to build that snowball that we're looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and take 9 right here. We are at 22, so it's not the worst. And Guide of Souls can always help recover as well.
Yeah, you got a Soul Sister in play. You're not too pressed to block this turn at least.
Okay, this draw was insane, but we are going to keep it for next turn. I'll go ahead and play Aether Hub. And then just jam out this Amped Raptor.
That's a pretty good one, yeah.
See what we get off of this. Oh, all right. So
Oh,
this
War
is
Marshal.
yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I am so dead. I am so unbelievably dead.
Yeah, we are going broad with this one. All right, so we were at
So many triggers.
13, and now we're back up to 17. And we still have 1 excellent card in hand and an unstable amulet that can give us another card. However, we're still not in a great position to be attacking yet. I do have a 4/3 first strike, which can block either of these 2 creatures profitably right now. We'll see if they don't grow next turn. But I don't know. Maybe we attack with this mercenary token and just give it flying. I think I'm going to do that. So, one thing to be concerned about when approaching combat in the energy deck is not putting all of your eggs in one basket. You have the ability to spread out your damage amongst a huge field of creatures, and it is much more frequently often correct to do that than go all in on like 1 Amped Raptor or something. Because like if he's got a Reflector Mage next turn, I just lose, what is that, 6 power, and I don't get it back because it's counters based instead of permanent based.
So I've continued to draw poorly. I drew the Savage Pilgrim. Yeah, I'm not in a position where I could have activated the Beachhead. So yeah, these Amtractors are pretty nastily stonewalling me. So I think I just have to hold back and see what we can rip off this recruitment officer. Definitely not a great position to be in, because if he has a Brotherhood Scribe or any kind of way to gain, if he has a Brotherhood Scribe, I think I just lose the game because it pumps the entire board, and then I have to make some very, very bad blocks with a pumped Amtractor. I think I actually just died a Brotherhood Scribe. I probably just die next turn, honestly. So, yeah, I think I'm just dead. But let's see what he's got, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty likely with how wide we've gone. I'm going to go ahead and activate this amulet end of turn. See what we get off of that. Brimstone round up a second one. Doesn't do a whole lot in our current board state, but it is also just a free card to play.
Four, five, six, seven. Oh yeah, I'm just dead on board, huh?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I give this flying 9, 10, 11, 12. So, yes. However, we are going to win more because I like to play the cards in this
Sure.
deck.
Yeah.
So here's a guide of
Sure.
both and a nurture.
You want to double guide one of your Amtractors just for fun?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just go ahead and see what's happening. Why not? Yeah, I'll take Extraction Specialist, I guess. My only hit.
Always check and see what could have been.
Yeah, you never know. There is like an actual decision point to be made earlier in the game, though. Instead of breaking Horizon Canopy and then casting Nathalia's Lieutenant, I could have activated the Recruitment Officer. I don't know which is better. I like putting counter pressure on you, but obviously my draws did not really deliver. I've drawn 6 lands and I drew an Absence Pilgrim last turn, so not where you want to see that card. Yeah. All right. I will just go ahead and say you got it.
Fair and reasonable.
Yeah. So for my sideboard plan, I am just going to be cutting some cards that are bad. So I'm cutting the Giant Killers, I'm cutting the Meddling Mages and the Jarina, because those are for more unfair matchups and they don't really do a whole lot. I'm going to be bringing in this Orzhov Pontiff because shrinking his whole board at once is pretty good, especially because I know there's Brimstone roundups and other things that make other tokens. I'm going to be bringing in the Cathar Commando and the Westfold Rider for extra insurance against enchantment and artifact-based value engines. And then I don't really have a whole lot else to bring in. I suppose I could just bring in a Sanctifier on Vec. Doesn't do a whole lot against flyers, but it does stymie some potential Lurrus rebuilding potential. Lavinia is also a consideration because it stops the snowballing effect of Amped Raptor. I think I like Sanctifier more in this matchup because it blocks better. I guess you can trim a Thalia. Thalias are good in this matchup, but they're not exceptional. There is a lot of creatures that Thalia doesn't do anything against. So I think I just moving to take a second Sanctifier, and then yeah. I guess I could keep these Meddling Mages in, because I'm on the play next game, so I could like have a Meddling Mage, and then Meddling Mage and Amp Raptor, but that seems a little wistful thinking. I'll just submit as is.
So sideboarding for the energy deck, at least for me, the entire sideboard is just for unfair matchups because the entire main deck is very good at grinding through the fair decks. So I made no changes.
Yeah, this is more the kind of hand that I want to see in this deck. It has a turn 1 recruitment officer and then a turn 2 pyre, so we're activating pyre on turn 3 and then fetching out some kind of good 2-drop, or we can establish this Charming Prince and then get some cool looping going with Charming Prince and the other extraction specialists in our deck. So this one's going to be a keeper for me.
Alright, I have 5 lands and 2 non-lands. One of the non-lands is Guide of Souls, but the other non-land is Galvanic Discharge. I think if that were a permanent, I would be much more inclined to keep this. Like, if that were a Brotherhood Scribe, an Amped Raptor, or an Unstable Amulet, I would certainly be much more on board. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw this one back. Oh, I clicked keep. Never mind, I'm keeping this one.
Alrighty
Love
then.
MTGO.
Yeah, I love MTGO. It's fine, just be a Lamp Raptor.
Simple as.
So with a guide hand, I think I'm much more incentivized to put this Charmer Prince into play, so that I can start getting some life gain and try to stymie the aggression. That is a pretty good draw step if I can draw some lands. I seem to be having the opposite problem of last game. Yeah, I think I'm drawing a third land means I need to be deploying this Pyre. Just because this card lets me outscale a lot of the sort of big the sort of go wide potential of his deck. If I can get to putting the Orzhov Pontiff into play, then it's going to be pretty strong.
So Pyre of Heroes is probably the scariest card you could see out of the humans deck, just because it creates like pseudo card advantage for them every turn, and helps them do the thing that I'm trying to do, which is create a massive snowball of overwhelming advantage. Fortunately, I draw like a god, so I'm just going to go ahead and static prison this Pyre of Heroes while I have the chance. And that is one thing about keeping a 5-land hand in a 19-land deck, is that most of your draws will just be heaters.
Alright, so this Tharkman is a little bit late, but I don't know that I want to spend 2 turns of my time trying to get this Pyre back. I just need to find more lands. So I'm going to just place this Charming Prince. Scry 2. Always yield. You know, those are kind of like lands.
Like Avacyn's Pilgrim?
Looking at Pilgrim, like, maybe.
Yeah, that is almost a land.
It is like kind of a land. The problem is this Gemstone Mine is going to be going away on my next turn, which is kind of stinky and bad. So I don't think these Pilgrims are not good enough. I mean, I suppose I can replace a Gemstone Mine for a Pilgrim, but then, like, I think that's still a losing proposition. So I'm just going to bottom both of these, I think. This is not going well for me. So he has drawn very well. I've drawn very poorly. If I could have kept the Pyre, then we could have gotten this Extraction Specialist going, but I don't know. Double Guide Start's pretty bad for me. If you have pretty much any other payload spell, then it's going to be... I mean, it's going to be really hard for me to get back in this game.
Unfortunately, I only get 2 turns of drawing very well, so Mountain there means that we just kind of need to play the cards that we have. I still can't favorably attack into this recruitment officer because I would need to spend all 3 of my energy pumping up a guide. And not drawing a creature there means that I can't pay for static prison if I do. Probably could have played this Aether Hub, but I don't think that investing energy this early in the game in this position is worthwhile.
Well, thankfully, I drew a third land. So now we get to see some of the real value this deck can offer. Because I can cast this Extraction Specialist.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Getting back this Charming Prince is alright. I don't get to do the super cool thing where I use my Charming Prince to flicker my Extraction Specialist and get back another creature. It's just going to be Scrying 2 here, but I think that's still, like, totally fine. My cards are pretty okay on top of my deck. I want to draw this card second and then this card first. Yeah. Yeah, because then so I put it as a courtyard on top. I saw courtyard soaring, so I put the courtyard on top so that I can play this Mantis Rider or go like Cathar Commando, immediately break Cathar Commando at end step. And then the soaring is going to let me put this recruitment officer, start this recruitment officer activating. And if I do go for the Cathar Commando, then soaring pairs really nicely with Pyre because I can just pay 2 mana to activate Pyre through soaring.
All right, so I am going to pay for the static prison based on what I drew this turn. I do have an interesting choice to make as to what to point this at, and I think I'm going to hit the static prison with it, because doing so is 2 additional energy as opposed to hitting a Guide of Souls with it, which only produces 1 additional energy. So we'll go ahead and play this Plains in a Nurturing Pixie. Pixie hits static prison.
Yay, I have my Pyre back! Aw. Aw.
Static prison comes back out.
But wait, I just got it back!
And now we have 6 energy, so we can attack with 1 Guide of Souls. We're not going to do both of the triggers, just one of them, because we do still need to pay for this prison in later turns. So right now I'm mostly afraid of any of the 4 mana cards in the deck. Palace Jailer, Satya is very good, and Aragorn is probably the least of them just because I have flying threats, so I can take the Monarch. But yeah, anything at the top of the curve is just something I'm not really looking forward to right now.
So this Guide of Souls getting pumped is rather annoying, but I honestly don't think I super care. I mean, I'm gonna take 5 next turn, potentially 8 if he, potentially 7 if he chooses to pump again with the Guide of Souls. But I think at this point in the game, I'm honestly more interested in trying to wrestle my Pyre back. So probably missequence this actually. Probably messed this up. I should have stacked the soaring on top and just bottom the courtyard because I could still do forge for soaring and then this other courtyard to flash in Cathar Commando and then have still the mana to break the prison. So it's a little unfortunate. I don't think this extraction specialist is getting a whole lot better. The amount of flyers in play, I think I would just rather. Well, I mean, I'm gonna get this Pyre back, so I think I would rather keep the bodies on board. Have the options. Orzhov Pontiff is not looking very good on this board state. He hasn't gone super wide. He's gone taller this game. So I am just going to ship it from here and then represent this card in my hand. And then just do good stuff next turn.
Alright, drawing Unstable Amulet is kind of fine here, I guess. I'm not sure that we want to be using it for card draw right now as much as just getting the 2 energy off of it. So I think I'm just going to cast that and then put Luris in my hand. And we'll go ahead and get in with just the 3/4, not doing the trigger. And we're not doing the trigger because we do want to use this amulet later for card advantage, so we need to keep a little bit of a stockpile. If we'd drawn like any creature there, I definitely would have used the guide again. But since we didn't, we need to be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah, I'm just gonna flash in this Cathar Commando here. So the amulet doesn't really change the plan. We're still just gonna pop this prison. because if I can get the Spire online, even with the Lurrus in his hand, that's just going to be this game is already setting up to be a longer exchange of resources, and letting me go bigger is very important in this game. So now I pretty much have the gamut of I have dealer's choice of whatever creature I want out of my deck. Because the recruitment officer goes into 2s, the charming prince goes into 3s, and then the extraction specialist goes into 4s. I could start setting up some more value engine-y loops by doing some stuff where I like pyre the charming prince into a jolly balloon man, and then like balloon man copy my extraction specialist to get back either my commando or my charming prince, which seems pretty okay. Most of my 4-drops are not especially great right now, because 2 of them give me the monarchy, which you can easily take with these flyers. So, and the Lurrus in the back line also makes things slightly annoying. So I could also pyre the recruitment officer into a Thalia's lieutenant and just go bigger and just start swinging in and getting aggressive. This is kind of the big draw of humans is at the point where you have like a pyre in play and some guys, like you have access to like your entire deck at once, and it's a lot of really interesting decision points here. I think I'm going to take the line where I go for the Jolly Balloon Man. I'm going to sacrifice my Charming Prince. So then Balloon Man is going to stay here. And then we can activate the Balloon Man, targeting the Extraction Specialist, paying this colorless mana. So this is going to make a hasty Extraction Specialist. I'm gonna run this into I'm gonna run this in because it's got lifelink anyway. I want to target this Charming Prince. This Charming Prince is going to enter the battlefield and flicker my Extraction Specialist. So then the Specialist will come back, and then I'll have the Cathar Commando up, and that puts him in a really difficult position because then he can cast Lurrus and then rebuy the Static Prison, but then I have the Cathar Commando to immediately answer the Static Prison, and then if he doesn't do that, then I can always just destroy the Amulet. So let's go to combat. And then this Extraction Specialist token is going to get in, because it is going to die anyway, so I might as well gain a life in the process and stymie a little bit of aggression. Jolly Balloon Man is just such a strong card in this deck. At the point where I think my ultimate goal in this game is to set up a scenario where I can start Jolly Balloon Manning a Reflector Mage, and then at that point, there's almost no way that he can win. Because just every single turn I have an unsummon that keeps a creature off the board permanently. So yeah, I think I am starting to turn the corner here. Have not fully turned the corner yet, but this is definitely looking pretty good for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Jolly Balloon Man is probably the best card in your deck against my deck, just because of like all of the plays that you've just described. Like, I know you mentioned taking like 7 different game actions, but you can do all of them within the span of 2 turns, and I think
Yeah,
that's incredibly strong.
Yeah, like next turn, I'm pretty well set up to go like end step pop Cathar Commando to destroy one of your things, and then like pyre away this Extraction Specialist into a 4-drop like Satya or something, or like Palace Jailer, and then like Jolly Balloon Man copy the Palace Jailer, and then this game just like it just spirals more and more out of control for you.
Yeah. So the reason that we're using the amulet at the end of turn there is because with this Jolly Balloon Man in play, things do get infinitely worse for me every second that exists. So we're basically just desperately digging for any answer to that we could possibly get. Didn't find one, unfortunately, so we're just going to go ahead and play this Loris. And then we're going to go ahead and static prison the Jolly Balloon Man, even though I know that he can kill it immediately with the Cathar. Well, actually, so alright, so if we static prison Jolly Balloon Man, that is a use of 1 mana and 1 card right now, and then 1 mana and 0 cards later, because you can just do the same thing, get it back with the Extraction Specialist. If we static prison anything else, the same thing can happen. So I think it might just be better to tap the amulet and see what we can get, if anything. Mog War Marshal is alright. It does make the card that I drew this turn a little bit more appealing. So 3rd Guide of Souls.
Good
And
God.
then I think we can just...
Yeah. I mean, I think you just... I don't know that you kill me here, but I think it's pretty close. You go...
Yeah, I'm not
5,
sure
6,
that it's
7.
like actual death, but...
Yeah.
We'll see how the
I go to 13.
maths out.
Yeah. Well, I go to 13, and then, yeah, it's like you go up to 10 energy, and then that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you
Yeah, I
use
can get
all of the
exactly
guide
12 this
triggers.
turn.
Yeah, I think I
don't
live
think
at
I'm going to do
1.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of doing that, we are going to just attack with 2 creatures with guide triggers on both of them.
Yeah.
Because being at 1 is effectively the same as being at 20. Like, if you're not dead, you can do any number of things to kill me, so I still need to play a little bit reserved.
Mhm.
Oh, alright, well, I guess we're using all 3 triggers.
That's
fine.
It's fine. Just put me at 1, and then I die to an amulet. I mean, I don't know that I'm killing you from 33. I can't block anyway, so I
33
might
is a
as well
lot.
just go ahead and destroy this amulet.
Yeah, just pop it right now.
Yeah. Force you to spend the mana if you want to Luris it back next turn to try and fish for a kill with an amulet ping. But yeah, this is not looking good.
I mean, you're still in a very good position. So, like, the thing that would probably hurt me the most right now is sacrificing the Charming Prince to get a Reflector Mage, making a copy of it, and just sending back my 2 giant creatures, so that our bards are basically at
Yeah.
parity.
That is something that I am thinking about, yeah.
It may also be worthwhile to try and get rid of the Luris, just because...
yeah, like, this Luris is gonna
me
cause a
having to
lot of
recast
problems.
it would be...
Yeah. If you can
Like,
hit,
I'm
like, an
pinched on white mana right now.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem is just that you have a static prison and an unstable amulet. So, like, I don't have the capacity to deal with every single problem right now, which is an issue. Because, like, I always need to kill these flyers, or get rid of these flyers, but I also need to stop this Luris, from doing stuff. It's times like these when I wish I was playing Wizard Pyre and I just had access to Derevi. Derevi Untapped Pyre is such a drug. I love it so much. Okay, so yeah, if I go for the Reflector Mage line, then I have 2 mana to work with. I get rid of both of your dudes, and then I have 4 blockers. you have 5 attackers. But then you can't play either of those. So you would have to hit another creature in order to kill me, which I like. If you hit another creature, I'm sad. But if you don't, and we fade a draw step, then things get kinda interesting. No, I think I still die, actually. I think I still lose. I think I lose no matter what. Um, let's see. 33 is just, like, too many life points.
It's a lot of life.
So I
I think
can...
at most you can get 2 Reflector Mages this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't triple pyre and get, like, 3 I can't get 3 Reflector Mage triggers. If I had a Charming Prince on hand, then we'd be talking, but unfortunately, that's not how this game is shaped up. Triple Guide of Souls is also pretty hard for me to beat.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a reason that this deck commits more than half of its budget to exactly that card.
yeah. It is kind of unreal. Um Yeah, I think I just have to do what I can to just stay alive. Um Yeah, there's, like, no world where I go, like, 2 drop, like, pyre away the 2 into into something and then extraction specialist it? I don't think so. I think I just have to go for the Reflector Mage line. I think that I'm still dead, but we'll see what we can do here. I can also get Orzhov Pontiff, which is, like, pretty in... Ooh. Actually, no, Orzhov Pontiff doesn't save me because I still die to the flyers.
Yeah, you need to kill the big
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, if I could deal with the flyers, then Orzhov Pontiff is, like, a 4 for 1, which is pretty good. Um, Pontiff sweeps away everything else, it just doesn't deal with the flyers, so yeah, I think I just have to get Reflector. Reflector has to bounce this thing. I wish
And
this
then
deck
you
could play...
JBM the extraction specialist, right? Get the Charming Prince back to
Probably,
blink
yeah.
the Reflector Mage.
Yeah,
That's
that's
an
definitely
extra
what
point of
happens
life
here.
gain at the minimum.
Mhm. I targeted the Reflector.
Well,
I don't think it actually matters.
yeah,
It's an
I
extra
don't know
creature,
that the
but...
math, like, fully works out. It's an extra 4 or 3 life if you bring the Charming
Mhm.
Prince back.
It's still not enough. I see a line where you
Yeah.
can just kill me here. Best I got is Thalia's Lieutenant, which is, like, something. Helping this extraction specialist is pretty relevant. Um,
Yeah, that would be an extra 2 damage from the ballooned specialist.
mhm. Yeah, I think I might have actually stayed alive if I had, JBM'd the specialist, huh? I mean, this takes me to 6, and then I have 3 blockers. Yeah, sure, you have a War Marshal. I think I still lose. Just because you drew triple guide, and there's not really a whole lot I can do about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, I think I lose. Oh yeah, like it's not even a like math problem. I was thinking if there's like maybe a way where you miss the line where you go like recur either the prison or the amulet with Luris and then just get 2 energy to pump again, but then yeah, like you have a Luris with some dudes. Oh yeah, that like 100% kills me.
I did
Yeah,
draw
because
a second one as well.
yeah. This is truly a Moggers moment. Moggers my doggers. God, if I could have been able to, if I had the time to like put Orzhov Pontiff into play, then like this would be so good. But yeah, like I
Yeah.
just lose to Guide of Souls triggers. You just swing both in, and I expire. You want me to concede, or do you want to just get the kill?
I mean, it
You can
doesn't
demonstrate.
matter.
Yeah, you can
It's better
demonstrate. Yeah, you got the
TBAFE.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you drew a triple guide. Like, not you drew a triple guide, and
Yeah,
there's not a
that's
whole lot of interaction in the humans deck. Yeah, I don't even think the extra 3 life would have kept me alive because if you the 3 extra life doesn't keep me alive because even if I'm at 7
right. That
there,
was a very
or even if I'm
reserved
at 9,
attack, and I could have sent in
yeah,
multiple dudes.
yeah. All right, well, I did my best.
Yeah, I don't think that that was like a poor showing by humans at all. Like you had a ton of things that you could
Yeah,
have
no, for
done
sure.
at like every point in the game. It was just a matter of
Mhm.
energy top decking well.
You drew very well, and also I think this is a pretty difficult matchup for humans if you can't like keep a pyre in play. Like I was close to turning the corner a couple times, but at the point where you landed the 3rd guide, I think that's when the game started to slip away from me, just because your deck has so much value generation packed into it, and the ability to recover from mulligans very well, just because you all of your cards are good.
Right, yeah. But I think that's going to be it for this first installment of our little versus series that we've got going on here. We will have more of these coming in the future as well. So thank you, Doot, for participating in this first one, and hopefully we can get some more in.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. I played humans for a little bit a while ago. And this is my first time hopping back on the deck. This deck is definitely really, really hard. Um, but yeah, like energy does well. This is fun. This is a good series.
That's all we've got for now. We'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye.